Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Crime and fantasy on this Sunday with episodes of radio's outstanding theater of thrills Suspense, the Diary of Sophronia Winters starring Agnes Moorehead. We'll also have an episode of Lights Out and the episode entitled Execution. Both those shows from 82 years ago, April 27th, 1943. And we'll have the news from those days as well. Also, an episode of Dragnet starring Jack Webb from 1954 and The Big Lift. An episode of The Hall of Fantasy. And that episode will be entitled The Wild Huntsman. And then we'll wrap it all up with an episode of Monticello Party Line, an old soap opera from 1938. That's all coming up on this Sunday. This is the 27th day of April. 117th day of the year. We have 248 days left till we get to 2026. British Parliament passed the Tea Act on this date in 1773, designed to save the British East India Company by granting it a monopoly on the North American tea trade. In 1805, Marines and Berbers attacked the Tripolitan city of Derna in the First Barbarian War in 1805. That's the shores of Tripoli, that from the halls of Montezuma. It was Babe Ruth Day across the country on this date in 1947. At Yankee Stadium, the Bambino, who was dying of cancer, spoke for the last time to his fans.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You know how bad my voice sounds. Well, it feels just as bad. You know this baseball game of ours comes up from the youth. The only real game, I think, in the world, baseball. You gotta start from way down the bottom. When you're 6 or 7 years of age, you gotta let it grow up with you. And if you're successful and you try hard enough, you're bound to come out on top, just like these boys have come to the top now. Thank you.
Give away, sir.
Ruth died a year later, August 16th, 1948. He was 53. Expo 67 opened on this date in Montreal in 1967 with a large opening ceremony broadcast around the world. Premiering on this date in 1969, The Dudley Do-Right Show. The character and his exploits originally appeared in a segment of the Rocky and Bullwinkle Show back in 1961. In 1974, 10,000 marched in Washington calling for the impeachment of President Nixon. In 1994, the first democratic election in South Africa in which black citizens could vote. Construction began on this date in 2006 on a new 1,776-foot tower on the site of New York's World Trade Center.
The tower, which is 76 feet high, asserting the Statue of Liberty and the torch of Lady Liberty. It's a beautiful and wonderful tower.
Architect David Childs describing his creation. More than 120 tornadoes raked the South and the Midwest on this date in 2011, killing 316 people across parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Virginia, and Georgia.
My soul is saved and I was prepared to die, and actually I thought I was going to die. It was just by the grace of God that I'm here right now.
And she survived that tornado outbreak in 2011. The end of the Korean conflict on this date in 2018, as the Panmunjom Declaration was officially signed. Passing away on this date in history, Edward R. Murrow.
This is London. At the moment, everything is quiet. Off to my left, far away in the distance, I can see just that faint, red, angry snap of anti-aircraft bursts against the steel blue sky. Now you'll hear two bursts a little nearer in a moment. There they are.
Ironically, Edward R. Murrow was taken from us a victim of one of the things he unveiled, cigarettes and lung cancer. Everett R. Murrow dying of cancer on this date in 1965. Also passing away on this date, CIA Director William Colby, trumpeter Al Hurt, singer Vicki Sue Robinson, pro wrestler Vern Gagne, and the man who really loved to get into the gook, Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer passing away 2 years ago today. Birthdays on this date include Samuel F.B. Morse, the inventor, also President Ulysses S. Grant, the creator of Woody Woodpecker, Walter Lanz, actor Jack Klugman, the wife of Martin Luther King Jr., activist Coretta Scott King, disc jockey Casey Kasem, actress Sandy Dennis, actress-comedian Judy Carn, the Sakatumi Girl, on the Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, and the main ingredients, Cuba Gooding Sr.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
The B-52's Kate Pearson is 77 today. Kiss's Ace Frehley is 74. Scottish singer Shayna Easton, The Morning Train, she is 66 today. Doctor Who's Jenna Coleman is 38, and singer-rapper Lizzo is 37. Those just a few of the people celebrating the 27th day of April is their birthday, and if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
Up next, Agnes Moorehead in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Civil defense is common sense. Hi, this is Tony Bennett. Make sure you're prepared if a nuclear attack ever comes.
Now we're going to go back to Tuesday, April 27th, 1943. We're going to start off at 9:30 on CBS for an episode of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Agnes Moorehead stars in The Diary of Sophronia Winters.
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. Our stars tonight are Miss Agnes Moorehead and Mr. Ray Collins. You have seen these two expert and resourceful players in Citizen Kane, The Magnificent Amberson, in which Miss Moorehead's performance won her the 1942 Film Critics Award. Mr. Collins will soon be seen in the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Technicolor film, Salute to the Marines. Miss Moorehead and Mr. Collins return this evening to their first love, the CBS microphone, to appear in a study in terror by Lucille Fletcher called The Diary of Sophronia Winters. The story told by this diary is tonight's tale of suspense. If you've been with us on these Tuesday nights, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue you, to stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so it is with the Diary of Sophronia Winters and the performances of Agnes Moorehead and Ray Collins. We again hope to keep you in suspense.
February 1st, St. Petersburg, Florida. I, Sophronia Winters, have hereby begun this diary because on this date I feel for the first time that I've begun to live. Diaries are no good unless one has thrilling experiences. For 40 years, I've never had what could really be called a thrilling experience. But Papa's death has changed everything. Here I am in beautiful St. Petersburg with everything to start life anew, money in my purse, 2 suitcases full of new clothes, and a gorgeous new permanent wave. And Florida is really the land of romance. It doesn't matter whether you're 17 or 70. There are parties and dances and bingo games and flirtations for all. My landlady, in fact, tells me that people often become engaged and even married to perfect strangers overnight. I'm still shy, of course, but just the same, it's such fun and so thrilling to think one's fate may be just around the corner. February 3rd. Oh, diary, it is beginning. This morning when I came out of my lodging house to go down to the beach, I noticed a man, a thrilling-looking man, sitting across the street on a bench. It was just as though he were waiting for me, because when I came out, he sort of started up as though he knew me. Of course, I didn't speak first, but I knew the minute I started down the street that he was following me. Well, I got to the beach and sat down with my magazines, and suddenly there he was, strolling toward me with a broad smile.
Well, sitting out here all by your lonesome?
Oh, yes, I am.
Didn't I see you last night over at the Starfish Tea Room?
The Starfish Tea Room?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, I was there yesterday. But it was so crowded, I'm afraid I don't recall.
Mighty nice cuisine they've got over there. Mind if I sit down beside you?
Oh, not at all. Oh, just a minute. Sit on this magazine. The beach is so sandy.
Oh, sand doesn't bother me. I'm from Maine, you know. We get plenty of sand up there.
Do you?
You've been down here at St. Pete long?
Oh, just 3 days.
3 days? That's a long time. It's a wonder I didn't spot you before.
Oh, Mr.
Johnson's the name, Hiram Johnson.
Oh.
I come from Green Harbor, Maine. Run a big hotel up there summers.
Oh.
Well, that's my whole history in a nutshell.
My name's Sophronia Winters.
Sophronia?
Uh-huh.
Well, you know, that's quite a coincidence. My sister-in-law's name was Sophronia.
Oh?
Sophronia Johnson. You ever heard of her? She looked quite a bit like you, too.
Sophronia Johnson? No, I'm afraid I haven't. Who was she? Someone very famous? I'm so ignorant about these things.
Oh, that's all right. Say, look at that sun, will you? I'd say it was pretty nearly time for lunch.
And Diary, darling, he is wonderful. Strong and kind, warm-hearted, so generous. I don't want to be like the other silly women in this town, but Hiram is different. There's something almost poetic about him, something sad and deep.
You know, Sophronia, it's kind of mysterious, us finding that 9-point starfish on the beach together. My sister-in-law, Sophronia, used to collect 9-point starfishes. And to think your name's Sophronia, and you find a 9-point starfish with me. Well, it kind of draws us together, eh? Huh? What do you think?
As though I know him completely. As though I'd known him all my life. My landlady says it's foolish. But look at Romeo and Juliet. Weren't they foolish?
What's the good of waiting, Sophronia? I've got to be back at the hotel in a week. We may never see each other again.
Oh, Hiram, don't say that. I couldn't bear it.
Then let's do it right away. Tomorrow? There's a parson out on Coral Avenue who'll do the job for us. We can take a nice moonlight drive out to the alligator farm afterward, have a nice shore dinner, then climb on board the Orange Blossom tomorrow night from Maine.
Oh.
Just think of Maine. The big dark pine woods, the sand, the bay. The two of us alone together.
The two of us alone together. February 7th, on board the Orange Blossom. I was married in a wedding dress of Alice blue moire, with a frill of white organdy at the collar and wrists, and a rhinestone belt buckle. Hiram sent me talisman roses. I'm pressing one precious flower between the pages of this diary for luck.
See it beyond this bend in a couple of minutes. Bags heavy?
No, not particularly, dearest. Oh, I can't get over that taxi man at the station. Imagine his insolence, saying he couldn't drive us over.
Maybe he didn't have any gas. It happens sometimes around here.
Well, anyway, I'm glad the weather's so mild. Can you imagine what it would be like in a blizzard?
There's the place.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to look till I put down these bags. Now, where?
There. Through those big pine trees.
Oh, it is big, isn't it?
125 rooms.
So many fire escapes and balconies and porches and towers. I stayed in a hotel like that once years ago with Papa. It was very fashionable then.
My grandfather built that place 50 years ago. Hasn't been changed much since.
No? Well, of course, you've put in modern plumbing.
Not yet. Here we are. Walk in.
Oh, what's that?
Just a foghorn out in the bay.
Fog?
We get it almost every night in this kind of weather.
What are you locking the gate for?
Why not? There's nobody coming in after us. Or going out again for a while.
But I thought you said the hotel.
The hotel is empty.
Hiram.
What is it now?
Hiram, darling, I know it sounds silly, but let's not go in there tonight. Let's wait until morning.
Why?
Oh, just because it's so dark and empty. There's not a light in the whole place, and no one's expecting us. What do we eat? Where will we sleep? Let's stay in the village just for tonight.
I've got things to eat and a place to sleep. Come on.
Oh, my arm! Hiram! Hiram!
Do you remember my telling you down in Florida about my sister-in-law, Sophronia? Well, that's her over there on the wall. Take a look at her.
Hiram, you hurt me. Oh, well, this glass is very dusty. She must have died many years ago. But her face is sweet, very sweet. And her eyes, there's something very sad and wistful about her eyes.
She was a murderess. She was hanged in Portland 25 years ago for the murder of my brother Ephraim, here in the lobby of this hotel. She murdered him in cold blood with an axe. That fire axe hanging over there on the wall.
Hiram.
It was a summer day. There were guests sitting out on the front porch in the rockers. It was just after lunch. My brother Ephraim was sitting at the desk counting his loose change. My mother was crocheting in that old wicker rocking chair. Sophronia came downstairs, humming a hymn.
Oh, don't, Hiram. Please don't tell me any more.
Why not?
Well, it makes me nervous to hear it like this in this big shadowy lobby. And your eyes, Hiram. Your eyes. Hiram, you're acting so strange. Hiram, what's the matter with you, dear? I know it was a terrible tragedy, but it happened 25 years ago.
Don't touch me, Sophronia.
Don't touch you.
Do you remember what I said to you in Florida?
What did you say? Well, you said a million sweet and wonderful things to me, Hiram.
I said you resembled my dead sister-in-law. Look at her again. Look at her closely. Sophronia.
But why? Oh, no, I can't. It's too horrible. I can't look at her face with any pleasure now, knowing she was a murderess.
You're afraid to look at it?
No, I'm not afraid. Hiram, please, my arm. Oh, very well. I'll look.
Now, stand there quietly, like that. Take off your glasses. That's all I wanted to see. That's all I wanted to see.
February 13th, Green Harbor Hotel, Maine. I can't understand it. I try to fathom it, but my head aches and my heart is heavy. The hotel is deserted. Has been for 25 years. Everything is covered with spiders and cobwebs. Great dining room with its oak woodwork is alive with rats. And the row of broken rocking chairs on the front porch faces emptily out to sea. Does he mean this to be my home? He's downstairs in the shabby parlor, off the lobby, playing the harmonium.
Sophronia.
Yes? Yes, Hiram?
Sleeping?
No, dear.
Why is your door locked? Come out. I want to show you around the place.
It's all right, dear. I've seen it. I've seen just about everything.
No, you haven't. You haven't seen the grounds at all.
The grounds? But, Hiram, it's after midnight.
I want to show you where my sister-in-law, Sophronia, is buried.
Well, not tonight, dear. Please, it's so late, and I have a headache.
Open the door, Sophronia. I want you to come now.
No, I shan't. Oh, go away and let me alone. I won't. I won't.
No use carrying on like that. You see, I have pass keys to all the doors. See, beyond, where those 4 birches are standing, it's where my sister-in-law, Sophronia, was laid away 25 years ago. It was the biggest funeral in the neighborhood. Folks crowded outside the gate with the dozens trying to get a look, but we wouldn't let them. Buried her ourselves without a service out here by herself on the grounds. Ephraim is buried in town, but not Sophronia. I had a feeling I'd have to keep an eye on her even then.
Keep an eye on her?
I knew she was one of those restless sleepers who wouldn't stay quiet in her own grave. I knew before the year was out she'd find some way to start roaming around, hunting for mischief again. She was a young she-devil to the core, Sophronia. And they could hang her till doomsday. Wouldn't do any good.
You mean you think she haunts this hotel?
No, not this hotel. She never had any use for it, alive or dead. No. She makes for the warmer climates. She was always a cold-blooded little fish, freezing and shivering all the time. It's places like California and Texas and Florida she makes for.
Florida?
Yes, that's one of her favorite haunts, particularly around St. Pete. She likes the flowers and the sun and the romance.
Hiram, I feel cold. Do you mind if I go inside
Just
now?
a minute. I haven't explained everything. You think I'm crazy, I guess. Crazy. But I'm a lot smarter than some people give me credit for. Because, you see, I have found her now. 3 times. Do you see that grove of birches over there? Under every one of them's a grave. I've found her wandering the earth in disguise 3 times. And I've killed her 3 times. It still doesn't do any good. She's still restless.
You mean you've killed 3 different women?
So now I keep another open grave to remind her. It's waiting now. Would you like to see it, Sophronia?
No, Hiram. No, please,
Are you afraid to see it, Sophronia?
No, Hiram, you don't mean to say that you think, just because my name happens to be Sophronia and that I look a little like...
Think what, Sophronia?
Nothing. February 14th. My mind is made up. I made a terrible mistake, and I must get away from this place. I must get away from Hiram as quickly as I can. It should be easy. There's no fog today. If I can only escape from the hotel, I can run and hide in the pine woods. No. I shall wait for dusk, when he generally sits down in the parlor and plays the harmonium. I can hide a little earlier in one of the deserted rooms, and then, when his back is toward the lobby, slip out the front door.
Sophronia? Sophronia? Sophronia! Oh, there you are. What's the matter? Anything wrong?
No, Hiram.
You didn't want anything outside, did you? Because if you do, you'll have to ask me to get it for you. You see, I always keep the front door locked.
Yes, Hiram.
Yes, the back door, too. And all the doors leading out into the porches and fire escapes. And a good many of the windows. It makes one feel safe from thieves and peeping Toms. Oh, you've got a cold. That's too bad.
Yes. I must have caught it last night. Outdoors. The damp.
You ought to be in bed. A good bed. The only good bed in the house is in my sister-in-law, Sophronia's old room.
No, Hiram. I'm all right. Is this a little head cold?
Oh, little head colds often develop into pneumonia. Why, it's too bad I didn't think of that before. You might have slept in it from the beginning. Here, up these stairs. What's What's the matter? Are you so weak?
No. No, I'm all right.
This room is the cleanest in the hotel, too. I've always had a sort of suspicion about it. You see, I've kept everything as it was. What's the matter?
Nothing. It's just...
It seems kind of familiar.
No. It's just that seeing it so clean, seeing it as though someone were living here, as though they'd only just stepped out for a moment.
It's as she left it that afternoon when she walked down to murder my brother. You see her needlework on the table with the needle sticking in it? And her hymn book still open? She was very fond of singing hymns, Sophronia was. Had a nice voice, too. I used to accompany her. I'll turn down the bed for you. Then you can get undressed while I go and make you some hot tea.
No, I don't want any.
Here's the closet. You can put on one of Sophronia's dressing gowns.
Diary, I'm beside myself. I shall go mad. 2 hours have passed since he locked the door upon me. Night's fallen and I'm alone. Alone in this horrible room with its hideous little mementos of death. I'm sitting here at her little wicker table trying to be calm, trying to write this. Somehow, when one writes about a thing, it doesn't appear so real. My hand is just brushed against her needlework. Her hymn book, where they still lie, waiting. I can bear having them near me no longer. I must get them out of sight. Anywhere. In that closet. A bureau door.
Ready for your tea?
No. Yes, Hiram.
Why aren't you in bed? You'll take worse cold, you know.
I'll get in bed in a minute. First,
Brushing up on your needlework again?
My needlework?
You've got it in your hand.
Have I? Oh, yes. Yes, so I have. But I wasn't working on it, Hiram. I swear I wasn't. I've never done a stitch of needlework in my whole life. I don't know one embroidery stitch from another. Let me show you. Look, I don't even know how to hold the needle.
Get into bed, Sophronia. You're feverish.
Before we go on, Hiram, before you go on thinking, we've got to have an understanding. You've got to let me explain. I was born in 1892 in Kalamazoo, Michigan. My name is Sophronia, that's true, but they name lots of people Sophronia. I was named for my grandmother. She had just died. No, you've got to listen to me. I've lived in Kalamazoo all my life. If you'd only just write a letter or send a wire. Well, I've never heard of Green Harbor in my whole life. I never went anywhere. For almost 10 years, I stayed home day in and day out nursing Papa. He had a stroke. I wasn't out of the house. It was a red brick house with green shutters. February 15th. Now I live only from moment to moment, listening to each creak upon the stairs. I've been in bed all day. It's night now. The foghorn has begun to blow again. February 19th. I woke up early this morning after a wretched night, and the date was burning in letters of fire in my brain. If he's planning to kill me, it'll be today. But the hours have been crawling on. It's almost midnight. Oh, why, if he's going to kill me, doesn't he do it at once? Why does he torture me like this? I'd rather be dead than sit here in this room one moment longer. I can't bear it. If he doesn't come in 5 minutes, I shall force him to come. I shall beat on the door. No. Rather let me sit quiet praying that he doesn't come. Oh, I want to live. I want to live.
Sophronia!
It's come.
Sophronia! Come downstairs. I want you to sing me a hymn.
Sing? He never asked me to sing for him before. But she sang. I can't sing, dear. I told you that long ago.
Did you? Well, I'd forgotten.
And besides, how can I come downstairs when my door's locked?
It's unlocked. Try it.
Unlocked? Oh, no. How could it be? Oh, it is, and I never know it. I never know it.
Coming?
He unlocked it. Sometime while I was just sitting. Oh, why didn't I try a few more times? Why did I just sit there assuming? No, he'd have caught me anyway. He'd have known. But I might... Oh, now it's too late. He's going to kill me.
Sophronia!
Yes, Hiram. I'm coming. Hiram, where are you?
In here. In the parlor.
What are you doing there, Hiram?
Waiting to hear you sing.
You're at the harmonium?
Yes.
All right. I'll sing. I haven't sung in years, but I might as well. I'll sing for you out here in the hall. My voice will carry better.
It always did carry better in the hall, didn't it, Sophronia? So you remember that, too. Of course, you know both the front and back doors are locked.
Play a few bars, Hiram, dear, to warm me up.
Shall I sing, too, Sophronia? Would you like me to sing along with you?
If it pleases you, Hiram.
Work for the night is coming. Work in the morning sun.
Work for the night is coming. When man's work is done. Work while the daylight darkens. Work in the summer sun. Work for the night is coming. When man's work is done. There's only one more page. Shall I read it to you? Yes. Yes, go ahead. March 22nd. I've been sick, I think, for a very long time. The pages of my diary are blank, but I shall take you out again, poor diary, today and start you over again. No, I shall never look back at the other pages. I shall only write on and on about this beautiful place, so that no one reading this diary will ever know that I did it. But I did do it, diary. I was smarter than he. When I opened that door at the head of the stairs and heard the music, when I saw the fire axe still hanging on the wall. Oh, I was so cautious. So terribly cautious. I tiptoed like a little mouse, even as I sang the hymn into that room where he was playing. But I was clever, so much cleverer than he. I kept on singing. And now I'm free. Free as a bird. I'm free and they shall never catch me now, not this time or ever again, because he's dead. Isn't he, Nurse? Nurse, isn't my dear brother-in-law, Hiram, really dead?
Yes, miss. He's dead. And now I'll thank you to hand me that diary. The doctor doesn't approve of the patient's writing anything.
And so closes the Diary of Sophronia Winters, starring Agnes Moorehead and Ray Collins. Tonight's tale of Suspense. This is your narrator, the Man in Black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Tuesday, when Richard Dix, Gail Page, and Montague Love star in Death Flies Blind. The producer of these broadcasts is William Spear, who with Ted Bliss, the director, Lud Gluskin, the musical director, Lucian Mohowick, the composer, and Lucille Fletcher, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
We've talked a lot about Agnes Moorehead over the years, but let's say a word about her co-star in this, Ray Collins. Ray was a wonderful actor. I mean, he was in Citizen Kane. He was with Orson Welles' Mercury Theater. Appeared in 900 different stage roles, 75 films, and yet he's going to best be remembered for being Detective Lieutenant Arthur Tragg on Perry Mason. Just as we remember Agnes Moorehead not from Sorry Wrong Number, not for so many other great roles with the Mercury Theater and the like and on Suspense, but she'll always be in Dora and Bewitched. Those were such minor roles. Ray Collins played Tragg through 1963 in the case of The Capering Camera. It was broadcast January 16th of 1964. His health got in the way. He could not remember his lines well anymore. And his name appeared in the opening sequence for 2 more seasons, until May of 1965. The executive producer knew he watched every show. He didn't want to discourage him. He died on July 11, 1965, emphysema, St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica. He was 75. Ray Collins and Agnes Moorehead, radio's outstanding theater of thrills suspense, 82 years ago, April 27th, 1943, 9:30 p.m. on CBS. And yes, this even goes before, it goes before the Roma Wine sponsorships. So there you go. We'll have a look at the news from 82 years ago in a moment.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Fred McMurray. Home shelters can be built for as little as $100. Simple plans for building inexpensive home shelters are available free from your civil defense office. Ask for a copy of the Family Fallout Shelter booklet.
All right, this first hour of Classic Radio Theater, we're taking a look at this date on Tuesday, April 27th, 1943. Let's turn to the newspapers of that day for some of the headlines, shall we? Let's start off with the war news. Russia suspending diplomatic relations with Poland last night, claiming Poland had stabbed her in the back by asking the International Red Cross to investigate German allegations that Russia executed 10,000 Polish officers in 1940. The War Labor Board appealed to the United Mine Workers leadership last night to halt spreading work stoppages in bituminous mines as the coal wage dispute moved toward a climax. German troops retreating before the Second Army attack in northern Tunisia fell back at Mature, Tunis-Bixley Railway, after 4 days of stiff battle. Russian-Polish severance of diplomatic relations deemed a temporary triumph for Nazi propaganda. 70 U.S. planes give Kiska heaviest pounding abolition campaign, hitting the new Japanese fighter plane runway, gun installations, and barracks. U.S. Air Force in China destroys from 5 to 9 Japanese fighter planes in enemy attack on advancing base in Hunan province. British resume air offensive against Nazi Europe, attacking railway centers in northwest Germany, the Rhineland, and France. And Russian airmen run up highest toll on Western Front, destroying 17 enemy planes, blowing up ammunition dumps, sinking a transport ship and trawler, and smashing a train. The Muslim League approved unanimously last night a resolution warning the British of strife and bloodshed if it's forced into a federation with the Hindus, religious and political opponents of the Muslims, outnumbering the Muslims 3-1 in New Delhi. The resolution, approved by a show of hands at the final session of the League's 30th annual convention, also condemned the British government for failure to concede to Pakistan a separate state. The U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed conviction of Miami attorney Fred W. Pine on charges of conspiring to violate the Mann Act in connection with transport of women from other states to work in the La Paloma Club in Miami. Jane Russell, 21, and Bob Waterfield, 22, the UCLA football star, married in Las Vegas, Nevada Saturday night, according to friends of the couple. And a string of international code flags used by the clipper that carried President Roosevelt to Casablanca auctioned off for $500,000 in war bonds at a Washington theater Saturday night. High bidder identified by Pan American Airways, contributor of the flags, as Julius Chlorfine, a New York cigar manufacturer. Those some of the day's news stories as reported in the newspapers of Tuesday, April 27th, 1943. And then up next, we will go to 8 o'clock Eastern Time on CBS for Lights Out with Arch Obler.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Joni James. After nuclear attack, what radioactive fallout will be a potential threat to every living thing. You can't hear, or smell, or taste fallout. Often you can't see it, so you must take shelter and stay there until told it's safe to leave.
We wrap up our look at Tuesday, April 27th, 1943, with an episode of Lights Out starring Arch Obler. This goes back 82 years, April 27th, 1943. The program entitled Execution.
Ironized Yeast presents
Lights Out. Everybody.
It is later than you think.
This is Arch Obler. Tonight, the makers of Ironized Yeast bring you a story not of imaginary terrors. No, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's play will thrill and chill you beyond any power of the supernatural, because this story is based on cruel, grim reality. So tonight we urge you not to avoid this excitement and tension. Rather, we urge you to turn your radios up and listen as you've never did before.
Herr Himmler.
Heil Hitler. Well, mein Führer, I have the report. Now, look here, Herr Hitler, it's no use getting so red in the face. That won't help anything. What's happened, happened, and as long as we know why it happened, I'll see to it won't happen again. So nothing is lost and something is gained. Now, here, I have the report here. It arrived by courier only 5 minutes ago. I rushed it right up. Didn't even stop to read it myself. So, I will read. Official report on the Renoir incident as made by Captain Hans Mauchlich to Major Heinrich von Trobberitz, commanding officer 3rd Division Army of Occupation at Headquarters Paris. Heil Hitler. I, Hans Mauchlich, Captain, member of Elite Guard assigned to 3rd Division Army Occupation, being in my right mind and in full realization of the consequences to me, make the following statement. On the day of April 7th at 2 o'clock in the morning, Sergeant Karl Fischl, while on patrol duty in the town of Renoir, was shot at by unidentified woman and slightly wounded in the left thigh. In accordance with orders
radioed from Paris headquarters, I at once placed the entire population of Renoir under arrest, and in accordance with further orders received, collected 50 female hostages to be hanged in the village square unless the criminal who had shot Sergeant Fischel was turned over to me at once. These French women were placed in the basement of the town hall, and precisely at sundown, having assembled the populace in the public square, I mounted the scaffold platform which had been erected there and spoke to this village of criminals. Attention! Attention! I warn you, no disturbances, or I will give the order to fire. Now, for the last time, who among you is guilty of this crime? Speak! So, very well. The next time, every man and woman in this town will be deported for hard labor in the Reich. This time, we will proceed with the executions. Silence! Sergeant, the first prisoner. At this point in my report, may I explain that the 50 women to be executed had been picked at random by squads sent through the town a few hours before. I personally knew none of them, but I personally counted them as they entered the place of imprisonment, and I personally posted the guard. That I know. The first prisoner. Bind her hands up to the platform. Noose around her neck. So, tighten the rope. Place her on the trap door. So, the prisoner will lift her head. Lift your head. Look at me. At this point in the report, may I describe the prisoner? Sex, female. Age, indeterminate. Clothes, indeterminate. She lifted her face as ordered. Then a strange thing happened. She smiled. Yes, smiled. You smile? Why do you smile? Very well, the trap door. Hang her.
Herr Captain.
Well?
Her neck is broken.
Do not cut her down yet. People of the town of Renoir, the first of your women hangs here. The first evidence that to harm a soldier of the Holy Reich means death. Certain death. Remove the body. Bring out the next prisoner. At this point in my report, may I explain my plan? To hang was not enough. No. These Frenchmen and their women and their children must learn their lesson in a way they would never forget. One by one, the women would be brought out. One by one, they would stand on the platform. One by one, the rope around the neck, the trap door, the body twisting and turning in death. Coming through that door, climbing then to the scaffold, and dying. 50 of them, and it would take hours. And these Frenchmen and these French women and their children would never forget this lesson. Bring her here over the trap door. Rope around her neck. No, do not bind this one. It is better that they out there see her dance at the end of the rope. The other died too quickly. Ready?
Yes, Captain.
The prisoner will lift her face. Lift your face. Your face. You are related to the one who just died. Answer me. Very well. People of Renoir, you see before you the second of you who is to die for the crime against the Reich. This one, I can see, is related to the first. A sister, perhaps. It will not save her. The crime must be avenged. You laugh? Hang her.
Herr Captain, her neck is broken.
Broken? So small a woman? Why should... Sergeant, they drop too far. Shorten the rope. Let them struggle before they die. The next prisoner. At this point in my report, may I state that all day it had been threatening rain. In spite of that fact, I had not felt it good psychology to postpone the executions. At this point, the time was 4:30, and the sky was getting quite dark, but I was determined to complete the executions. By the time the next woman stood on the scaffold, it was very dark. People of Renoir, the third criminal to die for the crime against the Reich. The crime must be avenged. You laugh too? Why? You're going to die? Why do you laugh?
You will know.
Hang her. At this point in my report, I will state that this woman did not die easily. I could tell that from the faces of the people and the animal cries that came to their lips as they watched this woman of theirs flinging about at the end of the rope. I was quite pleased. Silence, silence! Well, people of Renoir, she thought she would not die. You see, she is dead. There is no escape from the vengeance of the Reich. Bring up the next one. Stop that drum. Yes, people of Renoir, there is no escape from the power of the Third Reich. Today over all Europe, tomorrow over all the world. What power is there to stop us? All right, bring the prisoner up here, quickly. At this point in my report, may I say it was darker than before. Clouds. There was a feeling of an electrical storm in the air. Hurry her up there, hurry her up! Sergeant, turn on the floodlights. Let no one move. Shoot down anyone who tries to leave the square. Do not think the storm will make any difference. Here you are, and here all of you will stay until the last one of your criminals is hanged. All right, soldier, do not stand there. The noose, put it around her neck. No! Soldier, are you out of your mind? Why do you stand there? What is it?
Look at her. Look at her.
At this point in my report, I wish to state that I am not sure if I am in my right mind completely now. But at the time I am speaking of, I knew exactly what I was hearing and seeing.
Captain, look at her. I tell you, look at her.
You?
I...
Sergeant.
Yes, Captain.
The bodies, are they down there?
Yes, Captain.
How many? Answer me, how many?
3.
3?
3.
So, you, woman, you think you'll make jokes with me? You are of the same family. Yes, that is it. You are of the same... Hey, At this point in my report, I will state only that I immediately ordered the next prisoner up to the scaffold. The 5th prisoner.
Captain, this one, the same?
You crazy fool, how can that be? Here, the searchlight, here. No. You are not... How can that be? Sergeant, how many now? The truth, tell me the truth.
4, Captain.
The truth, I order you.
4 bodies, I swear it, Captain.
And their faces. Look at their faces. Answer me, their faces.
All the same, Captain. The same.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment now to look around to reassure ourselves that we are where we are in the free America of today, where thousands of people are able to say,
Man, oh man, am I going good. Making more money than I ever did. Sure, taxes are tough, and I'm putting my 10% in war bonds. But even so, I've got plenty left to spend for fun.
To spend for fun? You think our fighting men in Africa are having fun? Was it fun for our boys at Guadalcanal fighting off the Japs from foxholes? Being shot down in flames over Berlin, is that fun?
Why, no, but like I said, I'm putting my 10% in war bonds.
This is no 10% war, my friend. Our servicemen are fighting at 100%. And that's exactly why the news from Africa is good. Why we won at Guadalcanal. Why we're moving toward the offensive on other fronts. Do you want more American victories? Do you want our men to march into Berlin at the earliest possible moment?
Why, yes, of course.
Then back them up as they are fighting for us. 100%. Put that money you've got for fun into more war bonds. War is expensive, and if we hold back here on the home front, we'll needlessly prolong the war, thus throwing away thousands of American lives. Are dollars for fun more precious than the lives of American fighting men, of your fighting man? You know they're not. And remember, friends, the quicker the victory, the fewer lives lost. And if we want victory sooner, every American of us must do more. So go to your nearest bank or post office, wherever war bonds are sold in your town, and put every cent you don't really need into bonds. Do it for your own sake, and for the sake of our fighting men. They give their lives. We must lend our money.
this point in my report, I say only that it began to rain. A terrible rain. And we stood there in the rain. The people all round the scaffold, my soldiers, and on the platform the hangman and I, and the woman. All the same.
You hang for vengeance, don't you, Nazi? One German soldier shot at by a French woman who had the blessed right to kill him. And you think you will have the vengeance with 50?
Laugh. It's always the same.
Shall I tell you about vengeance, Captain? You Germans think you know all about it. But let me tell you of the real vengeance.
At this point in my report, I will tell you of my thoughts. These women, the same, was not possible. I left the scaffold and went below to where the bodies lay. With my flashlight, I looked. Broken necks. The faces quite the same. I shut off the light. I climbed back to the scaffold. I was not disturbed, because now I understood. The families of these French were large, and all these were sisters. 5 sisters. Yes, trying to frighten me. Well, that was ended with their broken necks. I ordered out the next woman for her execution. People of Renoir, there will be no further demonstrations of any sort. You will stand there in the rain until all your women criminals are dead. 5 sisters have died. And I am certain that is the end of that family. And who is this frightened one with her hands in front of her face? All right, keep them there. Corporal, get the new noose around her neck. Hang her quickly. What? Her face. Another one. Oh, you French, such families. Worthy of we Germans. But we have men, and you give birth to useless women. 6 women, and all of them born to be hanged.
Shall I tell you about vengeance, Nazi?
What?
You Germans think you know all about it. But let me tell you of the real vengeance.
Captain, the other one said those words.
Shut your mouth. You, woman, how do you know the words your sister said?
I said them.
How could you?
You think you know about vengeance, you Germans. Well, you don't. Vengeance, too, has to be based on truth. And what is your vengeance? You began a war once and lost it. To whom did you lose it? To these little people? To that little rabbi whose back you broke in a concentration camp? To that little child who suffocated under her mother's body in Poland?
Hang her! At this point in my report, I state only that I made sure this one hanged until she was dead. And then I waited a little while before I ordered the next one out. The rain was very heavy. All the people stood there in the square below the scaffold, heads bowed to the rain. And in the light of the searchlights, they and the soldiers guarding them were like living dead, standing there unburied.
Captain, this one, she's the same.
What? Liar, bring her up here.
No, you hanged her and she's not dead. Not dead? Who is he? Run for your lives. Run.
Bring her up here. She is not the same. She can't be the same one. Turn the searchlights on.
The same one? Run!
Stand where you are. Men open fire. Shoot them down. Sergeant Corporal, where are you running? Stand, soldiers. Do not run. I order. The lights. Why did you turn out the searchlights? Turn them on. I order you to turn them on. My soldiers. Gone.
Are you frightened, Captain? Put the rope around my neck.
You are not the same. I saw you hang.
Put the noose around my neck.
The bodies, I can see them down there.
Hang me. You want your vengeance. 50 times the rope must stretch. 50 bodies piled like cordwood. And you call that vengeance? Shall I tell you of vengeance, Nazi? The vengeance of the people of the murdered republics. What was their crime? They wanted freedom from poverty. And your battleships stood off their shores, and your airplanes filled their skies and gave them blood to drink. Their own. The vengeance of the people of Poland. What was their crime? They wanted to live, just to live. So the treads of your tanks ground them into the dirt, and then your bombs lifted them out of the dirt. The vengeance of the people of Belgium, whose crime was that they were weary of a battle they did not quite understand because you had given them confusion. And so you stripped them of human dignity and made them slaves to live on bloody knees before the masters of your Reich. The vengeance of Holland. Oh, that will be a horrible vengeance, Nazi. For their crime was the crime of being men, of standing up and saying, this is our land and this is our freedom. Dare take them from us. So you swept over them. And when they could no longer fight, you took your vengeance by the murder of 40,000 of them. And the vengeance of Great Britain. Oh, that will be a terrible vengeance, Nazi. It will be a vengeance that will...
Oh, I will hang you. Rope around your neck. Now talk. At this point in my report, I swear by the grave of my mother I tell the truth. I hanged this woman with my own hands. I made sure that she was dead. And then I reached down and cut the rope, and I heard the body fall below in the dark. But when I got up off my knees and stood up on the scaffold again, another woman was there, and it was she.
The vengeance of Norway. Theirs, too, was the crime of free men content to live on their own land. And you put a swastika over their crosses and murdered their sons and starved their children. And the vengeance of the Balkans. So many vengeances, Nazi. Did you ever think of them? You with your little vengeances against the helpless, the women, the children. Did you ever think of this moving mountain of great vengeance that is sweeping toward you? The vengeance of the Russians, whose crime was that they wanted their own freedom, their own way, and who saw the hard work of 20 years ground under your Panzers and your Stukas. Oh, Nazi, theirs will be a terrible vengeance. Theirs will be...
And then there was another one. Another, but the same.
And the vengeance of the Americans. Their crime, that they were strong and they didn't like you and they laughed at you. And then their laughter turned to anger, and you were afraid of their anger, so you lifted another one's hand and gave them the treachery of a knife thrust in the back. And you drowned their men in the seas, and you...
I can report only what I saw. The trapdoor fell. She, too, was gone. The rope twisting and turning, and I was alone on the scaffold. Alone. I was alone. Yes, the rope twisting and turning, and I was alone. And then, who shall I swear this on? What do I believe in to swear this on? I heard footsteps coming up the steps to the scaffold, and I ran to the edge, and I looked. The lightning flashes were quick, one after the other, and by them I saw that I had hanged 8, and there were 42 left. And now they were coming up the stairs, these 42, one after the other, in a line that reached back across the square, coming to me. Who are you? What do you want? I report this. They came on the platform, one after the other. The scaffold moved under the weight of them. And then the lightning came again. And I saw all of them. She.
Poland, Belgium, Holland, Norway, Greece, Yugoslavia, Russia, Britain, America. I tell you, Nazi, no matter what the clever ones try to do at the peace tables, the people will not forget their vengeance. They will not forget their dead children and their dead wives and their dead sons and their dead mothers and their dead sisters and their dead lovers and their dead hopes and their dead wasted years. They will not stop at the borders of your Germany this time. They will march into it, into your Germany, the people. And their vengeance will be on every one of you who traded the cross for the swastika, and the great God of humanity for the little man who thought he was God.
Who are you? I report only this one last thing. As I asked the words, "Who are you?" suddenly it was no longer all these women speaking with one mouth, but in the rain and the lightning, I saw them moving together, and all of them began to become one woman, a terrible thing that grew and grew into the air. I lifted my face to see. The lightning crashed about the top of her, and it was still that woman, towering higher and higher into the air. And when she spoke, her voice was the thunder.
Listen to me, Nazi. When that vengeance comes, you shall not hide behind your little man. For his crimes are his crimes, and your crimes are yours. And each must pay for his crimes.
Who are you?
For the good people of this world will not die this time in vain. This time the vengeance will be their vengeance, and the everlasting peace their peace.
Who are you? I report, I asked that, and suddenly I was lifted in the air. There was thunder and lightning around me, too, and up where I was, her voice was a whisper.
I am a French woman who stayed away from my own land too long. So long that some of my countrymen had forgotten that even the memory of me lives only where men fight for me.
Who are you?
I closed my report. This French woman told me her name, and she told me a place. Through the thunder crash I heard her. And then the lightning struck, and I was falling through the air. And when I awoke, it was morning, and she was not there. And the scaffold was burned to the ground, and there were no bodies, and the village square was empty. This is the end of my report.
Can you imagine such a report, mein Führer? A woman who grows into the sky. Now, of course, the man will be shot. Wait a minute. There seems to be an addition to the report. It says, note, the French woman said she could be found at latitude 41 degrees north and at longitude 74 degrees west. Investigation indicates this is a place in the Western Hemisphere known as Bedloe's Island. Further investigation indicates that there is only one French woman on this island. She is called the Statue of Liberty?
I see what you mean, Mr. Obler. The Nazis can kill people, but they can never kill the spirit of victory.
Yes, we've seen that proved over and over again in this war. We know how men, women, and children in France and Holland and Norway and every other country that's come under the Nazi heel are fighting back in every way possible. But we know equally well that the will to win is not enough. You can't fight the Japs or the Nazis with courage alone. The only way to fight these murderers effectively is in the language of bombs and bullets. Now, we in the home front who sleep in our comfortable beds and eat good meals in spite of shortages, we're being asked only to send our money to back up those who are fighting for our freedom. Now, if a Nazi isn't outside your door waiting to take you off to a concentration camp because you pray to your God on Sunday, or if a Jap isn't waiting with an executioner's sword, stained with the blood of an American aviator to cut off your head, it's only because all over the world men and women of courage are fighting your battle. So the next time you take out $1 and think, oh, what can I buy now? Think again. Is there anything I want more than I want a world of peace and justice and security of loved ones back home again. And then do what your heart and mind tell you must do. Put every dollar and dime you don't need for actual necessities into this fight by putting them into war bonds and stamps. This may be our last chance to buy the right to live as free men.
Thank you, Mr. Obler. Friends, the makers of ironized yeast have been very happy to dedicate tonight's program to our government's second war loan drive. And now, Mr. Obler, can you tell us a little about next week's story?
Well, before I do that, I'd like to personally thank the ironized yeast folks for giving me the opportunity of presenting this play to you tonight. A word of thanks, too, to Edgar Barrier and Mercedes McCambridge, and to Hans Conried and Lou Merrill. As to next week, well, if you've ever wished on a star, listen in. For the play has the provocative title of The Heavenly Jeep. To you lovers of the off the beat, a cordial invitation to be with us when the Heavenly Jeep takes off.
Yes, tune in next Tuesday again for Arch Obler's eerie story, The Heavenly Jeep. And if you need more vitamin B1 and iron, be sure to try ironized yeast. But remember, there's only one ironized yeast. You'll know it instantly by the yellow and orange package and by the big letters IY on the container and on each tablet.
It is later than you think.
Down south, it's white shoe season, and even up north you're beginning to see white shoes around town. And because of shoe rationing, lots of folks are giving their white shoes the best of care with Energine Shoe White. Energine Shoe White is made with the whitest pigment obtainable. It spreads over shoes easily and dries evenly with a real white, never a dingy off-white. So, to keep white shoes looking better longer, buy Energine Shoe White. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
That Tuesday was a busy night. On CBS Radio, it started off at 7 o'clock Eastern with I Love a Mystery and Harry James Orchestra. 8 o'clock, Arch Obler's Lights Out. Then at 8:30, the Al Jolson Show. At 9 o'clock, George and Gracie, George Burns, Gracie Allen. 9:30, Suspense. And then over on, let's see, where is it? ABC. I have ABC here, too, yes. So they had Terry and the Pirates on at 6 o'clock. Martin Nagrotsky News, Dream House, Lum and Abner, Duffy's Tavern, Famous Jury Trials, and Spotlight Bands. Mutual had, of course, its afternoon shows, the big lineup, you know, of Ma Perkins, Pepper Young's Family, The Right to Happiness, Mary Noble Backstage. Actually, no, this is NBC. That's right. It's WRC. Mary Noble Backstage Wife. Let's see. Stella Dallas, Lorenzo Jones, The Widow Brown, When a Girl Marries, Portia Faces Life, Just Plain Bill, and Front Page Farrell. And a little later on, 7 o'clock, you had the Fred Waring Show, The Salute to Youth. 8 o'clock, you had Johnny Presents Ginny Sims. Of course, Johnny Presents, that was the Philip Morris Show. Horace Height. And then The Battle of the Sexes, a show we played here before, at 9 o'clock. That was followed at 9:30, of course, by Fibber and Molly. Then you had 10 o'clock Bob Hope and Red Skelton at 10:30. Now over on Mutual, you had, of course, a lot of baseball games. But then you also had, let's see, you had, where is it? It's here. Fulton Lewis in the News. You also had Confidentially, The Cisco Kid, Magic Dollars, Gabriel Heater in the News, The Return of Nick Carter, Master Detective. And that wraps kind of up the highlights of the broadcasts of Tuesday, April 27th, 1943, 82 years ago. We'll get to more of the shows here in just a moment as we feature a show from 1954, Jack Webb in Dragnet.
This is Art Linkletter. In event of atomic bombing or some other catastrophe, here's something important to remember. It will help save lives, including your own. Do not use the telephone. Leave the line open for official rescue and relief. This is your part in civil defense. Remember, don't use the phone. Leave the line clear for safety of your own life and the lives of others.
We move up a few years now to April 27th, 1954. 71 years ago today, Jack Webb, Dragnet, and The Big Lift.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to forgery division, shoplifting detail. An organized gang of thieves has started operating in your city. In spite of the precautions taken, the thieves are still working. Your job? Stop them. Today's Chesterfield is the best cigarette ever made. It's the cigarette tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. The cigarette proved highest in quality, low in nicotine, best for you. Chesterfield gives you the taste you want, the mildness you want, a really refreshing smoke every time. It all adds up to Chesterfield's world-famous slogan, they satisfy. Buy Chesterfield today, regular or king size. Just light up, relax, and enjoy America's most popular two-way cigarette. Chesterfield. They satisfy millions.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, September 20th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of forgery division, shoplift detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 9:45 a.m. when we got to the 8th floor of the Whitfield department store. Security office.
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
We'd like to see Mr. Dunlop. I believe he's expecting us.
Your name?
Joe Friday.
Oh, yes. You want to go right in?
Thank you. Thanks, Frank. This door here?
Yes, go right in.
Come on in.
Hi, Jerry. You know Frank, don't you?
Sure. How's it going?
Hi, Jerry.
You boys want to sit down?
Thank you.
I'll have the girl sent up.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You want to have Miss Evans sent up, please?
Miss Evans, yes, sir.
Well, I'd like to ask you guys a favor.
What's that, Jerry?
Poor kid thinks this whole thing is her fault. I'd appreciate it if you could take it easy on her.
Well, we'll do our best. Sure. What'd they get away with this time?
Oh, here's a list.
Thank you.
Here's a copy for you, Frank.
Oh, thanks. You got any idea when they were in?
It's hard to tell for sure. We're open Friday night, and then Saturday's a pretty rough day. It wasn't until after closing we found it. I figured they either moved in late Friday night or early Saturday morning.
Miss Evans' girl discovered the thefts, did you?
No, she didn't know anything about it. The stock clerk found it. He was running through the inventory to replace the coats and suits. Noticed there were several that couldn't be accounted for. He called me.
Mm-hmm.
Evans' girl's in the department. I talked to her this morning. It looks like she waited on the pair.
She able to come up with any kind of description?
Yeah, I think she'll be able to help us. Oh, excuse me. Yes?
Miss Evans is here.
Well, send her in, please.
Yes, sir.
Come in.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Dunlap?
Yes, would you come in, please?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Miss Evans, this is Sergeant Friday and Officer Smith. They're from the police department.
How you doing, miss?
Hello. I don't know why you want to see me, Mr. Dunlap. I told you I didn't know anything about them. I told you. You've got to believe me. I didn't have anything to do with them. I never saw them before.
Now, you just sit down, Miss Evans.
Thank you.
Now, the officers are here to just talk to you. They want to ask you a couple of questions. There's nothing wrong.
You mean I'm not going to lose my job?
No.
Really? You're not going to fire me?
We never even considered it.
I don't know how to thank you. My first job, and to have a thing like this happen. I sure appreciate it. Anything you want to know, I'll tell you. You just ask, I'll tell you.
All right, Miss Evans. Have you any idea who might have stolen the merchandise?
Well, didn't you tell them what I said, Mr. Dunlap?
Well, I thought it would be better if they heard it from you.
Oh, I see. Well, I think I know who they were. I've tried to remember all the people I waited on, everyone. There's only two that stand out, like they were different.
How do you mean different, miss?
Well, they didn't seem like the other customers. You know, like they really wanted to buy something.
Yeah.
They just wanted to look around. I could tell they didn't really want to take anything with them. We had a course on that in school, how to tell if a customer really wanted to buy.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the class problems, to sell a customer who didn't really want to buy anything.
Yes, ma'am. About these people, what was it they did that makes you think they might have been the shoplifters?
Well, first, the way they talked. I was trying to wait on other people at the same time, and they kept me showing them all kinds of things. It took me almost a half an hour to clean up after they left.
There were two people, is that right?
Yeah, a man and a woman.
Can you give us a description of them?
I told Mr. Dunlap all about it. You want me to go over it again?
I've got it, Joe. I'm having it typed for you now.
All right, fine.
You want me to tell it again?
Well, we'll check it with you, yes, ma'am.
What kind of things these people want to see, ma'am?
Oh, just about everything at the counter. They had me so mixed up I didn't know what to do. I told you I was trying to wait on another customer. A woman who wanted to buy a suit, I kept trying to take care of her. She finally left. These two were causing so much trouble. Every time I left them, I couldn't even take care of the woman. She got mad and left. I don't really blame her. You know, Mr. Dunlap, there really should be more people up there. Only 3 girls, and when we get busy, there just aren't enough to go around. Lots of customers walk out.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see what we can do.
Lots of times they walk out without buying something because there isn't anybody to help them.
Mm-hmm.
This woman who walked out, could you describe her for us?
You bet. She was real nice. Had a lot of patience. Kept waiting for me to go back and take care of the troublemakers. Never said a word.
Well, can you tell us what she looked like?
Well, I'd say she was about 35. It's hard to say for sure. She took real good care of herself. You know, hair all nice and good makeup. Not cheap like. Nice hands and a manicure.
Was she carrying any packages when she came in, do you remember?
Gee, I gotta think about that. I don't think so. Oh, you know, a couple of paper bags like from the notions department. Maybe face cream or cologne, things like that.
No large boxes?
No. I don't see why you're so interested in her. The other two were the ones who caused the trouble. They're the ones who must have taken things. Why are you asking about the lady?
How was she dressed, do you remember?
Oh, just beautifully. Had on a gray suit with large lapels. Kind of peplum that came out like this. Rhinestone buttons, beautifully good taste.
She wearing a coat?
Mm-hmm. Long. Had a stand-up collar, real full skirt, tight bodice.
Where was she looking at the suits?
Over by the counter. She'd hold them up, you know, in front of the mirror. She knew what she wanted, looked at the material, the way they were made. She'd have bought if I could have spent a little time with her. She liked the merchandise, liked everything I showed her.
Mm-hmm. How many things did you take off the racks for?
I guess she looked at a dozen styles. You know, a dozen real high-style suits. That seemed to be all she was interested in. You don't think she had anything to do with the stealing, though, do you?
Well, looks like she was the one who did the actual taking of the merchandise. The other two were there to keep you busy.
I can't believe that. She was so nice, never seemed to get upset, even when I couldn't spend more time with her. Real nice. Didn't get upset at all when she couldn't find what she wanted.
I'm afraid you're wrong there. She found it. We continued to interrogate the witness. We got complete descriptions of the trio. Their physical appearance and their method of operation matched those of the gang Frank and I had been looking for the past 6 weeks. Alice Evans was shown mug shots of known shoplifters, but she was not able to give us an identification. We made arrangements for her to come down to the office and check additional mug files. The average citizen looks at shoplifting as a petty nuisance which businessmen are expected to endure. This is not entirely true. Shoplifting is big business. Last year, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise was stolen from stores in the Los Angeles area alone. Most of the goods stolen by organized gangs is sold to fences for final disposal. During the course of our investigation, we'd been working with Stores Protective Association, incorporating all of the security officers in the larger businesses. MO bulletins had been gotten out on the gang's activities. From what we'd been able to find out, there were 3 people working as a unit, 2 women and a man. The 3 suspects would enter a store and split up. One of the women would pretend to be looking at merchandise, while the other 2 suspects would engage the clerk in conversation, in that way keeping her away from the first member of the trio. The articles stolen were almost always either coats or suits, and we noticed that one line of merchandise seemed to attract the criminals more than others. Monday, 3:46 p.m. Frank and I went down to a second-hand clothing store on 5th Street to talk to the owner.
Be right with you.
Toby?
Yeah. Hi, fellas. What's going on?
Oh, we got some things we want to talk to you about, Toby.
Sure, just having a cup of coffee in the back. Come on, I'll pour you a cup.
Fine, thank you. In here?
Yeah, sit down. Get you some java.
Thanks.
Anything special?
No, we're just fishing, Toby. Thought you might be able to come up with a little something for us, maybe.
And here you go. Either of you want sugar?
No.
Oh, thanks. Don't use it.
Just doing part of your work here.
Is that right?
Yeah, buy sheets. Want to get in the mail tonight.
Well, we don't want to keep you, Toby.
Yeah, no trouble, Sergeant. Mac's getting a little tired anyway. Just as soon stop and have a cigarette.
How's business? Pretty good?
I'm keeping up. Now, what can I do for you?
You got anything on a boosting gang working around?
Nothing more than usual. Why?
Well, we got a bunch that's giving us a little trouble. We're trying to come up with something that'll hang together on them.
2 men and a woman?
Yeah. You got anything on him?
Oh, nothing worth repeating. Rumbled around about the 3 of them, that's about it. If I had any more, I'd have called you sooner.
Where's the information coming from?
Well, you know how it is, Sergeant. You hear something here, something else there, you put them together, you come up with a story, but no way to trace it.
Yeah, I know. You got any idea where the stuff is being sold?
Same answer. Rumble's got it that all the loot's being shipped out of town. Some it back east, some goes up north. I got a piece the other day that some of it's going to Mexico.
Mexico, huh?
Yeah, most of it's ending up in the east, though.
You know any reason they'd be hitting one brand more than the others?
Well, got a word, that's about all.
What's that?
The gang's laying it out around town that they'll pay up to $25 for a suit. You know, the going price is around 5, maybe 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
Figures that if you can do better with one line, that's what you're going to boost.
Huh. Why's the price gone up?
Yeah, the only way I can figure it is that they're worth more on the market.
Anybody approached you?
Nah, if they had, you'd have been called right away, you know that.
Yeah.
You got any idea where we might be able to pick up anything on the trio?
Not right out, but I'll tell you one thing.
What's that?
The way I got it, there's 4 of them.
Yeah?
2 men, 2 women. A man's a gun. He sets up the deals, makes a shipment.
How are they getting the stuff out, Toby, do you know?
Pick up the kid and offer him a trip. Ask him to deliver a suitcase. Works out good for him. Carrier doesn't know who he's working for, can't lead the cops back to the operation.
Mm-hmm.
About the only way I can figure it. You say none of the stolen stuff showing up down here?
Nothing so far.
Well, thanks a lot, Toby. If you hear anything, we'd sure appreciate a call.
Sure thing.
Real good coffee, Toby.
Instant. I make it in the percolator.
Well, you mean that powdered stuff? You don't have to make that in a coffee pot.
Habit, I guess.
Well, thanks again. We won't keep you, Toby.
Oh, hang on a minute.
All right.
Yes, sir? What can I do for you?
Buy used clothes?
Yes, sir. What have you got to sell?
That's in the car. I just want to be sure you're buying stuff.
Well, bring it in. We'll take a look at it.
Okay, Toby, we'll see you later, huh?
Right, Sergeant. Give me a call.
Right.
I'll be right back.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think of that, Sergeant? Sure in a hurry, isn't he?
Yeah, let's see why. Come on. You see him?
Yeah, right up there.
Hey, hold it up there.
Huh? What do you want?
What's the matter? Didn't you hear me? I asked you to wait back there.
Well, sure, I heard you. I didn't know you were talking to me. What do you want?
Police officer. You want to step over to the car? I want to ask you a couple questions.
Well, I haven't done anything.
You didn't say you did.
Well, why do you want to talk to me? What do you want me to come?
Come on, let's go.
All right. I'm making a mistake. I haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
Got the wrong man. You got no reason to talk to me.
All right. Get in. All right, sit still.
What are you doing? You won't find anything. I don't know what you guys are after. I haven't done anything.
Take your wallet out.
Why?
Take it out.
Here.
Take the money out of it. You always carry that much money, do you?
No, not always.
I know. You keep the money in your hand. Give me the wallet.
Here you are.
This your true name?
Kenneth
Elgin Norris. This your right name?
Yeah.
You live here now, do you?
No, not now.
Where do you live?
I got a room over on 7th.
You want me to run a make on him?
Yeah, will you? Here's his ID.
Thanks. 1K80 to control 1. 1K80 to control 1.
Control 1 to 1K80, go ahead.
Check for 1. Kenneth Elgin Norris. That's Norris. Male white American, 26 years, 5 feet 10 3/4, 168 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. KMA 367.
1K80, roger, and stand by.
What's all that about?
Checking to see if you're wanted any place.
Oh.
You ever been in trouble?
Me with the cops?
That's right.
No, never.
Why'd you leave the clothing store in such a hurry?
I remembered I had to meet a guy. I remembered I was late.
Who's the guy?
A friend of mine. You wouldn't know him.
Well, try us.
It's a guy named Arthur. I don't know his last name.
Where were you going to meet him?
A bar down the street.
What about the clothes you wanted to sell?
What about it?
Where are they?
I don't know.
Well, you went in to sell something that you didn't have. Is that it?
Well, I was going to pick him up from Arthur.
You don't know his last name?
No.
How come you were going to sell the clothes?
Huh?
Why were you going to sell the clothes?
Well, that's a silly question. Why does anybody sell anything? Because I needed the money.
You look like you're sitting pretty good.
Well, I got to leave town. I'm selling all my stuff.
I thought you said the clothes belonged to this Arthur guy.
Well, they do, but I'm going to sell them for him. He said he'd give me a piece of the profit.
Why doesn't he sell them himself?
Well, I don't know. You better ask him.
We'll try to. Now get the rest of the stuff out of your pockets. Come on, everything.
You guys are making a big mistake. You know that, don't you? A real big mistake.
Well, if we're wrong, we'll tell you.
Yeah. Here it is. Comb, change, cigarettes, and a lighter. That's all there is.
You sure?
Well, why would I lie?
Turn your pockets inside out.
What?
Turn them inside out.
All right.
All of them. The other one, too.
Told you, I gave everything I had. There isn't anything else.
Well, what's that?
Huh?
Move your foot. What's this?
Looks like a key.
What's it for?
Well, I don't know. It isn't mine.
Well, maybe it belongs to Arthur.
It could be. It isn't mine.
Looks like a check locker key, doesn't it?
It might be. I never saw it before.
Came out of your pocket, didn't it?
No, it didn't. Must have been on the floor all the time. It isn't mine.
1K80, your suspect has a felony record including burglary and is now wanted for parole violation.
1K80, Roger. KMA 367. Thought you said you'd never been in trouble.
I made a mistake.
Looks like you made more than one, doesn't it?
What?
Maybe you were wrong about the locker key.
I told you, I never saw it before.
Oh, sure. You want to sit with him, Frank?
Yeah.
I'll get to a phone.
Right.
It's just a key. What does that prove?
I don't know. Let's find out what it opens. We got the location of the locker, and with the suspect, Frank and I drove over and removed a large black suitcase. The locks on the case had been broken, and inside we found 11 women's suits of the same type that had been stolen from the Los Angeles stores. All identifying labels had been removed, but we were able to find the tag issued by the National Recovery Board inside the seams of the suits. We got in touch with their Los Angeles office, and they told us that the serial number had been issued to a San Francisco company. On the way back to the city hall, we stopped and searched the suspect's room thoroughly, but we found nothing. When we got to the squad room, Frank went to the business office to arrange a phone call to San Francisco, and I took the suspect to the interrogation room. 6:20 p.m.
You guys got to believe me. That stuff's not mine. I don't know where it came from.
Where'd you get the key?
Well, it's not mine. I never saw it before.
That's kind of hard to buy.
Well, I don't care if you want it or not. That's the way it is.
Tell us a little more about this Arthur, will you?
I told you everything I know.
Where'd you meet him?
In a bar down on Main. I told you that before. Now, what's the matter? Don't you believe me?
You're making it tough to believe.
I'm telling you the truth.
Where'd the suits come from?
I don't know.
All right, here. Take another look at them. Might help you remember, huh?
They were in the suitcase when Arthur gave them to me. That's all I know.
Where'd he get them?
I don't know.
Did he steal them?
Well, I don't know.
Why'd he give them to you?
He just said he wanted me to take care of
You
them.
told us before he wanted you to sell them, didn't you?
Well, he did.
Where were you going to make the payoff after they were sold?
He said he'd get in touch with me.
Where?
Around. He said he'd find me.
He gave you over $500 worth of suits, and he said he'd get in touch with you, huh?
That's right.
When?
Sometime.
He didn't name a date?
No, just said he'd look me up.
How many times have you been arrested?
You got the record. Why asking me?
We want you to tell us.
I don't know. I forget.
We'll take a guess.
Oh, a few times.
5?
You got the record.
When's the last time you checked with your parole officer?
I forget.
You know your package is tabbed?
No, I didn't know until I heard it on the radio.
You had no idea, huh?
No.
You went up for burglary, is that right?
Yeah, they sent me up to the joint.
You know you're going back, don't you?
Yeah, I guess.
It's not going to look good to have another charge marked on you.
What do you mean?
Burglary.
How'd you dig that one up?
These suits, if you can't explain them, it isn't going to look too good, is it?
Look, I told you, Arthur gave them to me.
And he said he'd get in touch with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure.
Come up with the answers yet?
Says he doesn't know them.
Yeah? Maybe we can help. Just got through talking with a George Ryder up north.
Yeah.
He checked the records, code numbers from the shipment to the Whitfield department store. Looks like the bunch we're after.
Now who's Arthur?
You mean the suits were stolen?
You called it. Who's Arthur?
Look, I don't want to go back to the joint in a beef like this.
We don't decide that.
But if I help you guys, you'll take care of me. You'll talk to my parole officer.
Can't make any deals with you.
Yeah, but I don't want to fall this way.
That's up to you, mister. You're sitting in the middle. Now, which way do you want to go?
Nobody can help you but yourself.
This Arthur must be a fine friend, leaving you with a bunch of stolen merchandise.
Might be the way you figured it. What's the matter? Doesn't Arthur like you?
Okay, I'll go the route.
No.
I'll tell you where to find him.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. You hear it everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. Here's how lovely New York model and television star Roxanne puts it.
I started smoking Chesterfields about the time I got into show business. Yes, it's Chesterfields for me. I like the regular size.
Now let's hear from the man who owns and runs the Stork Club, Sherman Billingsley.
You know, it's my privilege to be a host to over 4,000 very nice people every day, and most all of them smoke Chesterfield. As a matter of fact, our records show that Chesterfield is our largest seller, 3-1. And it's Chesterfield for me. I like them king size.
Either way you like them. Chesterfield regular, Chesterfield king size. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, a really refreshing smoke every time. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
We called a stenographer, and Kenneth Norris gave us a complete statement. He said that he'd been approached by a man that he knew only as Arthur and asked to carry a suitcase to St. Louis. Once there, a man would have him paged at the airport and take the valise from him. In return for this service, the suspect was to be paid $100 and his expenses. Norris explained that he decided he could do better by selling the contents of the suitcase himself. This information was forwarded to the St. Louis Police Department. We got a complete description of the man he knew as Arthur and had the suspect check through the mug books, but he was unable to make an identification. We got in touch with his parole officer and told him that we had Norris in custody. We asked that we be allowed to detain him for a few days. The following morning, we met with Chief of Detectives Thad Brown and Captain Welsh. It was decided that Norris would take us to the bar where he'd met the thief and he'd point him out. Norris would then be brought back to the main jail and booked, and I would try to establish myself with this Arthur. In that way, we'd have a better chance of building a case that we could take to court and apprehending the entire shoplifting gang. On Wednesday morning, September 22nd, Norris, Frank, and I drove over to Main Street. We checked the bar, but the suspect wasn't there. We waited in our car, which was parked down the street. Arthur failed to arrive. He didn't show up at the bar on Thursday or Friday. Saturday, 12:40 p.m. Norris pointed down the street.
There, that's him, just going in the place.
Fellow in the gray suit there?
Yeah, that's him.
You sure?
I got no reason to lie, have I?
All right, Frank.
Yeah.
You want to take Norris back to the office? I'll go on in.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right.
Sergeant?
Yeah.
I'll give you something for free.
Yeah, what's that?
Take it easy with Arthur, don't press.
How do you mean that?
He's a pretty rough guy.
That's so?
Yeah, I hear he carries a gun. Be a lot of trouble if he's got it with him.
Not unless he tries to use it. I left Frank at the curb and walked into the bar. I saw the man that we knew as Arthur sitting at the rear of the place. I took a seat near the front door and ordered a cup of coffee. In a few minutes, I walked back toward Arthur.
Something you want?
Yeah, I wondered if I could have one of your cigarettes there.
There's a machine up front.
Well, if I had the price, I'd have bought a pack coming in.
All right. Here.
Got a match?
How you fixed for breath?
Look, I just asked you for a cigarette. If you don't want to give me one, say so and I'll shove off.
Never mind. Here's your match.
Thank you.
Hey, you.
Yeah.
You're broke, huh?
All the way.
Just got in town?
This morning.
Where from?
Up north.
Narrow it down.
Look, mister, here's your cigarette bag. Give me one of these doesn't tell you my life story.
You hungry?
I haven't eaten for 2 days.
Here.
Thanks. Appreciate this.
How long you gonna be in town?
Well, it depends on how things work out.
You got a job?
Well, I'm gonna look.
What do you do?
Whatever pays.
Tell you what.
No?
I got some friends around town. Might be able to use you. Check with me in a couple of days. Might be able to do something for you.
How do I get in touch with you?
Meet me here. I tag the place a couple times a week. Just ask if Arthur's around.
What's your name?
That's what I'm using this season. You look me up, kid. We'll work something out.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. I sat and talked to Arthur for another half hour. During that time, he wouldn't tell me his last name, and I had no way of finding out anything more about him. At 12:10, I saw Frank drive by the front door. That was the signal that the crew of detectives were standing by to follow the suspect. I left the bar and walked down Main Street up to 7th. Frank was waiting for me. We drove back to the city hall and discussed what had happened with Chief Brown and Captain Welsh. During the next 3 days, Arthur was kept under constant surveillance. He didn't drive an automobile. He contacted no one. We were able to learn a considerable amount about the man. Although he didn't try to make contact with any other members of the gang, it was obvious that he was the prime fence and that he was directing the operation. Wednesday afternoon, I walked into the bar on Main Street. Arthur wasn't there, but the bartender said that he was expecting him. I waited. At 6:47 p.m., the suspect entered the place. He took a seat at the rear of the bar and motioned me back. Hi, I've been looking for you.
All right.
Yeah. Wonder if you've been able to come up with that job you were talking about. I could sure use a touch.
You like to travel?
What?
I think I might have something for you. You got to go out of town, though.
For dough?
I wouldn't ask you any other way.
Well, what do I have to do?
A friend of mine has a suitcase he wants delivered to a party in Chicago.
Why didn't he send it by mail?
Doesn't want it to go that way. He wants it delivered personally.
Well, what's it pay?
All your expenses and $100.
Oh. What's in the suitcase?
That isn't any of your business.
What happens if I get picked up? I don't know I'm not carrying anything hot.
You gotta take my word for it, Chief.
All right. Who do I deliver the suitcase to?
I'll meet you in the morning. I'll give you the bag then. You catch the 10 o'clock plane. When you land at Chicago, go to the coffee shop. You'll be paged. Meet the man and give him the suitcase.
Well, how do I know if it's the right guy?
We'll give you the name. He's the only one who knows what the name is and when you're coming in.
All right. Where do I meet you?
Be out in front of this place at 8 in the morning. I'll pick you up.
Just one more thing. How about the money?
You won't need any going back. When you turn over the suitcase to my friend, he'll give you the 100. You already have your ticket.
Sounds okay. Not as permanent as I'd like.
You carry this off, we'll be able to do more business.
Well, I'll meet you here then at 8 in the morning, is that right?
Right. Be on time. I don't want you to miss that plane. A lot depends on this deal. I don't want anything to go wrong.
No, don't worry.
What?
Neither do I. I left the bar and met Frank. We stood by the front of the place, and at 9:56 p.m., the suspect came out. He called a cab, and we followed him. We went out to the apartment where we knew he lived. Frank and I waited out front. At 11:20, a car pulled up in front of the place, and 3 people got out. They matched the description of the thieves in our shoplifting operation. They were carrying a large suitcase. We waited for 10 minutes, and then Frank and I went up to Arthur's apartment.
Number 408, huh?
Yeah, it's down this way.
Uh-huh.
I get the door.
Wait a minute.
All right.
Yeah.
Who is it? In a minute. What are you doing here?
What's this all about, Art?
Police officers, you're under arrest.
Stand still.
Cop, a lousy cop. Should have known. I thought I could trust you. I thought you were honest.
You sure pick him, a cop for a messenger boy. You're real smart.
I thought I could depend on him. I thought he was honest.
You don't know what the word means.
How about it, mister?
Huh?
Do you?
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 18th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. You know, the Chesterfield you smoked today is the best cigarette ever made, and best for you. Now, that's a fact. And to my way of thinking, it's the very reason for you to change to Chesterfield. Try 'em either way, regular or king size. If you try 'em, I think you'll say with all of us, Chesterfield's for me.
Arthur Nelson Thompson, Samuel Donald Hickok, Georgia Baxter Nielsen, and Dorothy Marie Simpson were tried and convicted of burglary in the second degree, 14 counts. They received sentence as prescribed by law. Burglary in the second degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period not less than 1 nor more than 15 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank the editors of Cosmopolitan magazine for this month's pictorial feature on Jack Webb and Dragnet. Cosmopolitan, the May issue, on your newsstands tomorrow.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Jack Crucian, Alice Bacchus, Ralph Moody, Herb Ellis. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter cigarette smokers, here is headline news. Nationwide demand for L&M filters drops price. Now you save up to 4 cents a pack, 40 cents a carton. Now everyone can afford America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette. Remember, only L&M's have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette at the new low price. L&M filters.
"71 years ago, April 27th, 1954, Dragnet, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. On our Monday show, we'll get back to comedy with episodes of Jimmy Durante, The Great Gildersleeve, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, and Abbott and Costello. On Tuesday, a pair of shows from Sunday, April 29th, 1962, with an episode of Suspense and an episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. We'll also have a 1952 episode of The Mysterious Traveler and The Sealed Book. And then on Wednesday, we'll have I Was a Communist for the FBI, Boston Blackie. We'll also have The Saint and Calling All Cars. And then on Thursday, Jack Benny, Father Knows Best, Screen Directors, Playhouse, The Trouble with Women, and Mr. Ace and Jane. That's all coming up in the next few days here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up next, The Hall of Fantasy.
The sound you hear is a recording of the warning siren in case of an imminent nuclear attack.
If this was an actual attack warning, would you be prepared?
Would your family be prepared?
If not, CA Survive All Civil Defense approved steel and concrete basement type fallout shelter.
The shelter, along with a basic equipment kit, affords you and your family maximum protection.
Survive All shelters are FHA approved.
No money down. 5 years to pay.
Horrible though it may be, this sound may someday become a reality.
Be prepared. See a Survival Shelter today.
Follow the links in the show notes to learn more about the interesting phenomenon of the Survival fallout shelters back in the day. Or you can go to our webpage at classicradio.stream. We've got links to the information on that phenomenon. Now we go back to 72 years, April 27th, 1953, The Hall of Fantasy and The Wild Huntsman.
And now, the Hall of Fantasy. Welcome to the Hall of Fantasy. Welcome to the series of radio dramas dedicated to the supernatural, the unusual, and the unknown. Come with me, my friends. We shall descend to the world of the unknown and forbidden. Down to the depths where the veil of time is lifted, and the supernatural reigns as king. Come with me and listen to the tale of the Wild Huntsman.
Never heard that sound before. It's so strange. Not like anything I've ever heard. It sounded like one of those old horns which called people to the hunt. Listen. To what? Be quiet, listen. Yes, I hear it too. Seems to be the sound of a horse approaching this camp. Maybe someone's in trouble.
Or perhaps the horse was frightened by something.
He's going to come right through the camp.
Coming through the trees! Watch out, you're right.
In just a moment, the Hall of Fantasy will present The Wild Huntsman. And now for our story. An original tale of fantasy by Richard Thorne entitled The Wild Huntsman.
There is an old legend about the Wild Huntsman. A spectral hunter of medieval legend who, with a pack of spectral dogs, is said to frequent the forests and occasionally appear to mortals. And he is not only known to the literature of our language, but also in the myths and legends of several of the world's peoples. The strange thing about this legend, there are many countries which have the same types of folklore, but the stories are the same up to a certain point. After that point is reached, these myths take different paths which never cross again. But this legend of the Wild Huntsman is the exception to the rule. For in every version I have come across, the tale is the same, almost word for word. It is a simple tale, whose basic motif is that if you meet him face to face, you will die. I was over at Jerry and Helen's place. Our conversation turned to hunting.
We haven't been up hunting now in almost 3 years.
You know, that's right. Ever since I was best man for you people. Say, that was over 3 years ago.
I can understand it, Vaughn. Back in those days at the U, those weekends up in the mountains were the things we lived the rest of the week for.
Isn't that the truth?
I don't think we missed an opening day for deer season in 4 years.
No, we didn't. Say, do you remember old Fisher?
Mm-hmm.
That half-breed who was a guide and who always wanted to take us where he said we could get our limit of game in a few hours? Yes, I remember him.
Who could forget him?
Well, I was walking down Main Street the other day, and who should stop me but Fisher? At first, I didn't remember his name. Then it came back to me who he was.
He hasn't changed, has he?
Not a bit.
What did he want, Vaughn?
Oh, the same thing. He said he'd be glad to guide us up to the mountains, to the place where we could get our deer limit without any trouble.
That's right. The season does open about 6 days from now, doesn't it?
What'd you tell him?
Same thing I always used to tell him. Maybe we would.
You know, I don't see why we can't.
What do you mean?
Well, why can't we go up with him? I've got a few days coming. What about you, Vaughn?
I guess I could squeeze a few days out of the old man.
It'll be just like old times. Is it a deal, then?
It's fine with me.
Helen, darling, what about you?
Well, anything you say there, only,
Only what, Helen?
Well, what about those stories we used to hear about Fisher?
What stories?
Well, I remember one that used to go around the campus. They said that of those he guided, very few came back.
Wait a minute. Yes, no, I do remember. There were lots of stories about Fisher. There was one, something about some connection between Fisher and the Wild Huntsman.
I forget how it goes. Well, the way I heard it was that Fisher happened to be up in the mountains hunting. It was out of season. They say that he met up with the Wild Huntsman, but bargained for his life by saying that he would lead occasional parties up into the huntsman's domain. The Wild Huntsman accepted the proposal, and Fisher lived.
Those stories, they weren't true, were they?
Of course not, darling. Stories are bound to spring up about people like Fisher. Little man with a livid purple scar running across his cheek. Just as if it had been branded there.
He always made me nervous.
Oh, this whole thing, Helen, this whole folk legend which has sprung up about the so-called Wild Huntsman, there isn't anything to it. It's just a bunch of stories that they tell the newcomers out here. Well, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if there weren't a few people who hunt in that forbidden area and then tell the wild stories you've heard just to keep that part of the hunting ground to themselves.
Well, what about it, Helen?
Of course I'll go.
Shall we have Fisher guide us, Vaughn?
Why not? That's the only way he makes any money. Let's give him a break. The next day, I went to locate Fisher, and I found him in his room in one of those cheap hotels on 2nd South.
Yes?
Hey, it's Vaughn Steger.
Just a minute. Come in.
Oh, thanks, Fisher.
You have to excuse the room, Mr. Steger. I ain't much for keeping the room clean. Sit down.
Thank you.
Now, what is it you wanted?
Well, you've been telling me about this place up in the mountains for a number of years, Fisher. Well, you finally decided to take you up on it.
You mean you want to go up there when the season opens?
That's right.
It cost you $50 for me.
We're prepared to pay it.
Fine. When you want to start up?
The same morning the season opens.
I guess that can be fixed. You got your own guns?
Yep.
Good. If you give me a little money, I'll lay in a supply of grub. How long you want to stay up there?
Only as long as it takes to get our deer.
It might be 3, maybe 4 days.
That's okay with us.
Another thing, Mr. Steger.
Yes.
You can't go up in no car. Got to use horses. Where I'm going to take you, there ain't no roads, only trails, and sometimes you have to lead the horses.
We understand all that.
In that case, I better start laying in the supplies.
Only one thing, Fisher.
Yeah?
Do you know any of the stories concerning the Wild Huntsman?
The what? Yeah, I heard some.
You were connected with the stories I heard, Fisher. Stories about you leading hunters up into the mountains. Hunters who never return.
Oh, that ain't true, Mr. Steger. Ain't true at all.
How did they start?
Don't know. But take my word for it, Mr. Steger. It ain't true. What you heard about the Wild Huntsman.
Back now to our story. An original tale of fantasy by Richard Thorne entitled The Wild Huntsman.
The days passed quickly, and before we knew it, we were ready to leave. Fisher insisted upon getting his fee before the trip started, and though I had some misgivings, yet I could see no reason why he shouldn't receive it.
We started out a few hours before the season officially opened. How long will it take us to get up to this place, you know, Fisher?
We are here about the middle of the afternoon. Maybe 3, maybe 4 o'clock.
But I should imagine that everyone else would have a head start on us.
Not in this section of the mountains.
What do you mean by that?
There ain't many people who come up here. Mark my words. You'll find more than you bargained for up there.
How you doing, Vaughn? Fine. What about you, Helen?
Oh, I think I'm going to enjoy this trip.
Maybe not.
What'd you say, Fisher? Huh?
Oh, I said she probably would enjoy the trip.
We stopped twice to eat and rest, and then continued on our way. I noticed that the woods were becoming thicker, and the farther on we went, the greener the color of the foliage became. 3 times during the trip up there, we had to dismount and lead the horses over the trail. I looked at my watch and saw that it was almost 3:30. How much farther, Fisher?
It's right around the bend in the trail up there. A little clearing with the stream not too far away. We can make camp there.
How much farther, Mom?
It's right around the bend. Oh, I'm glad of that. I'm not as young as I used to be. Helen's tired, and so am I. We won't be able to get in any hunting today, will we, Fisher?
Depends on what you want to do.
I think perhaps we should hold that off until early tomorrow morning.
Anything you say, Mr. Steger. Oh, there's the campsite.
Oh, there. Why, it's beautiful, Fisher.
Ain't been but a few people up here to destroy the looks of the land.
Whoa.
Oh, I've never seen anything so beautiful.
That's just what I told Fisher. You know, it was worth it. Just to see this place.
Well, might as well dismount.
Right.
Be our hope for a while.
All right.
Okay.
We made camp and set up the tents. Helen and Jerry shared one tent, I the second, and Fisher just used a bedroll. Evidently, he was used to sleeping out in the open. Occasionally, as the wind changed, the sound of the little stream would be brought to our ears. It was about 9:30. The campfire threw shadows against the trees which surrounded the little clearing. We sat around the fire. The crackle of the burning wood was pleasant to the ear, and the clean, pungent smell of it filled the camp. Oh, I didn't realize I was so tired.
Dear Jerry. Something so nice and peaceful about this place. I think I'm going to roll in. What was that?
It sounded like a wolf. We're up pretty far, you know.
It sounds so eerie up here in the woods.
There's nothing to worry about, darling.
I suppose you're right, Jerry. It's just a setup.
Never heard that sound before. It's so strange. Not like anything I've ever heard. It sounded like one of those old horns which called people to the hunt.
Listen.
To what?
Be quiet. Listen.
Yes, I hear it too. Seems to be the sound of a horse approaching this camp. Maybe someone's in trouble.
Perhaps the horse is frightened by something.
He's going to come right through the camp. Fine. Gone? I'm okay. What was it, Fisher?
I think his horse, whoever it was frightened by the wolf howl.
His horse was all black.
Did you get a look at the rider?
No, so sudden I didn't even think about it.
I imagine he'll be able to slow his horse down.
And you don't think he'll need any help from us?
No, he won't need any help from us.
As the hour grew later, a small wind sprang up and sounded its way through the branches of the trees and foliage surrounding us. It was a quiet and restful sound. At about 10:30, we all retired. I don't know about the others, but I fell asleep upon the instant. Once or twice during the night, I thought I heard the sound of that animal again, as its cry echoed across the distance. In the morning, I awoke completely refreshed. As I dressed, I could smell the odor of bacon and eggs frying over an open fire. The others were about gathering wood, putting camp in order. After we'd had breakfast...
I think we'd better break up into two parties. You have a compass with you, haven't you, Mr. Steger?
Yes.
You take the lady with you. He said he wants to go with me today.
Yeah, that's right, Vaughn. You can go out with Fisher tomorrow. Well, that's fine with me.
You strike out due north, Mr. Steger.
Uh-huh.
We'll go the other way. Now, don't go too far, though. You might get lost.
Don't worry. We won't go too far.
Good. Well, let's get started.
See you later.
All right, bye.
Bye now. They left camp before we did. A few minutes after we had seen them disappear down the trail, we started out. Our course was due north, which happened to cross the little stream. There was a sort of trail through the trees, and we followed it until we came to the stream.
That rider must have crossed the stream right about here last night.
Yes, you're right. I wonder who he was.
I hope he was able to stop his horse.
Fisher seemed to think he would.
That horn again.
Yes, but it seemed to be quite far away.
Well, shall I go on?
Yeah, might as well. That log lying across the stream, we ought to be able to cross the stream on that.
Don, wait a minute.
It sounds like a horse.
It is.
What?
Over there, see? There's a black dog running along the pike.
Oh, yeah. I wonder who it is.
You'll know in a minute. He's coming right for us.
Whoa, boy. Whoa there. Hello there.
Hi.
Don't see many people up here.
I guess not.
Any luck?
We were just starting out.
Well, hey, you must excuse my dog. He's not used to strangers.
I see.
Been here long?
We arrived here yesterday afternoon.
I rode over to apologize to you. I was out riding last night. Some animal howled and frightened my horse. He ran away with me, and I'm afraid I disturbed you. No damage, I hope?
No, there was no damage.
Good. I imagine Fisher guided you up here?
Yes, he did.
Good hunting country. Not many know the way up here, but Fisher does. It brings quite a few people up here. I imagine you've heard those nonsensical stories about a spectral hunter, haven't you?
Yes.
Fisher doesn't seem to believe them, does he? Evidently you people don't either. It is nonsense, of course. After all, no one's ever seen the Wild Huntsman and lived to tell about it.
Back now to our story. An original tale of fantasy by Richard Thorne entitled The Wild Huntsman.
Helen and I stood there, looking up at the black-clothed man who sat astride a coal-black horse. On the ground beside the horse stretched a dog. There was something strange about the three of them, as if they came from another world.
One other thing. I hope you'll forgive me if I impose upon you.
Certainly.
Well, then, tell Fisher for me that Hunter wants to see him.
Where?
He knows where to find me. Just give him the message. If you will.
We will.
Excellent. Well, goodbye. I imagine I'll be seeing you again.
Trailed closely by the gigantic black dog, galloped away. He seemed to be a nice enough fellow, but there was something about him which made me feel uneasy. Helen and I continued the hunt, but with no luck. We returned to the camp, cold and disgusted. We wondered why Jerry and Fisher weren't there, but then surmised that if they had had any success, they'd make slow progress back to camp. They came in about 2.
Don, look at the size of that deer.
Hey, they made up for what we didn't get. Hey, Jerry, good shooting, fella.
What's the biggest I've ever seen?
Why, look at that.
You've been stuck with one shot.
I've forgotten how to shoot. Let's put him down. Fisher. What a beauty.
Oh, Fisher, that man was the runaway horse. Why didn't you tell us you knew him?
I wasn't sure who it was.
We met him today.
A man on a black horse?
Yes. Said he wanted to see you. That you knew where to meet him.
Said his name was Hunter.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Hunter. I'll be back in a while. I don't want him getting angry. He's like a devil when he's angry.
We didn't think that Fisher would be gone long, and yet, when night fell and there was still no sign of him, we began to get worried. It was about 9 o'clock. Fisher had been gone for almost 7 hours.
I wonder where he is.
We should get back. He's been gone for almost 7 hours.
Well, he knows how to take care of himself.
A wolf out in those woods somewhere.
There's something about this place. Beautiful and yet it's so wild. A place where a man doesn't belong.
No, Helen. Man does belong here. He came out of the forest himself.
Yes, but when he left them, he gave them up. We don't belong here. The wilderness belongs to the animals, to the creatures of...
Listen. The horn again. I wonder who...
What was that?
I don't know.
Sounded like the scream of a human being.
Wasn't too far away. Maybe we better go take a look.
You're right. Get your flashlight.
Right.
Stay here, Helen. We'll be right back.
All right.
All right. We're over here in the street. Shine your light around.
Seems to be anything.
Just a minute. What's that over there?
Let's take a look.
It might be only a...
Good heavens.
You don't think...
I can't tell.
Take a look at his face. It's Fisher. He's dead.
Look at his cheek.
Yes, I see it too.
The black figure. A man on a horse. Together we managed to get him back to camp. We had to tell Helen that he was dead, though I would have preferred that she hadn't known. We talked it over and decided to go back in the morning to call an end to this ill-fated hunting party. We decided to divide the night up into shifts at which one of us would stand guard. I drew the first shift. I sat by the fire, occasionally feeding it, feeling alone, terribly alone. Who's that? Gary. Can't sleep. In a way, I'm glad. It's lonely here alone. Helen asleep? Yes, good. Go on. Yes? Do you think there's any truth to that Wild Huntsman legend? I don't know. The mark on Fisher's face. How can you explain that? I don't know that either. In the stories I'd heard, Fisher made a sort of pact with him. Why should Fisher die? Maybe he made a mistake. Maybe this thing intends making a new pact with someone else. We're the only ones up here. Yeah, I know. The wolf's awfully close. Got your gun? Yeah. You realize that every time we've heard that wolf howl, something's happened? Oh, I wish the morning would come. I wish we'd never started off. Helen, come on. You don't think? We'll see in a minute. Anything's happened to her. Helen! Helen!
Jerry, we have to do something. She's dead. She's dead, Jerry. We have to think of some way to save our own lives.
What? That is quite true, my dear sir. You. Where did you come from? Makes no difference. This is my domain. You do not belong here. You have trespassed where you do not belong. For that you shall die. If I do, I'll take you with me. When we ran to Helen after she screamed, we'd carried our rifles with us. Jerry raised his and fired. What happened then, I still don't know. I was sure that the bullet had hit Hunter, and yet he didn't fall. But something happened to Jerry. He screamed and fell lifeless to the ground. Hunter stands there watching me. In these last few minutes, all this, the complete story, has gone through my mind. I'm afraid. Terribly afraid. afraid. There's no need to be afraid. You will live, but on one condition, and that is, Fisher made a pact with me. You will do the same. No, I won't hurt, my dear sir. You must. Fisher was getting old, not quite as useful as he once had been. But you will live and bring more like you here to me. Just as Fisher did. Out to the forest and my domain. Out to the realm of the Wild Huntsman.
So runs tonight's tale of the unusual, the terrifying, the unknown. Join us again when next we journey down the corridors of the Hall of Fantasy to hear another strange tale of the supernatural. All characters and events portrayed in these programs are fictional, and any similarity to actual events or persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental.
72 years ago, April 27th, 1953, the Hall of Fantasy. Visit our webpage for more information on our shows and ways to support the show at classicradio.stream. Up next, the Monticello Party Line.
Everyone in the United States should know his community's public action signals and what they mean. There are two signals. The alert signal is a steady blast of 3 to 5 minutes. It means attack is probable. Take action as directed by your local authorities. Tune your radio to the Conelrad frequency of 640 or 1240 for official instructions and information. The take cover signal is a wavering tone or short blast for 3 minutes. It means attack is imminent. Take cover in the best available shelter. Be prepared. Know these signals and what they mean.
One of the most popular forms of radio was the soap opera. And this is one of those very early ones, going back to 1938, the Monticello Party Line. It was sponsored by Dr. Caldwell's Syrup Pepsin. It made you poop. It was about two couples who lived in Monticello, Illinois, also the home of Dr. Caldwell's Syrup. The original premise of the show revolved around a telephone party line, though the party line was rarely used. You had the lives and problems of two couples, Curly and Aggie Peters, and Clem and Sarah Tuttle, and the people who moved in and out of town. You had comedy, you had tragedy, you had conflict, all the stuff you normally get from a soap opera. And, of course, there were all sorts of premiums, and sometimes they were written into the scripts, like recipe books and the like. It was a big hit and fairly lighthearted. Written by the same people who wrote the much more serious Against the Storm. The show ran, and we have mostly episodes from 1938 that we will bring you. If you like this, please let me know. See if you enjoy the soaps. I don't have a lot of episodes that I can get of it, but if it interests you, I'll grab some shows. The Monticello Party Line, 87 years ago, April 27th, 1938.
Well, spring is here for sure.
It certainly looks like it, Clem.
Yeah, the day you put the old bench out, and I catch the proprietor of Peter's machine shop sneaking out for a smoke under the old oak tree. I know spring is here, no mistake.
Well, we ain't got anything so rushing to do this morning anyway. Sit down, Clem. Make yourself comfortable there.
Just for a minute. Hey, got a list of errands to do for the old lady.
Oh, well, a few minutes one way or the other.
Yeah,
now.
I'd sooner spend a few minutes this way than arguing with Miss Knockwurst about what number sewing machine Fred Aggerty told me to get.
You know, someday, Clem, I'm afraid you'll go and call her Miss Knockwurst right to her face.
Don't mind if I do. Just as good any day as whatever her real name's supposed to be.
Bockhorst, Clem.
What'd I tell you?
Have some of my tobacco, Clem?
No thanks. Got my own with me for a change.
Well, I got a look at her this morning.
You got to look at who?
This here sister of Carlton, the girl's been talking so much about.
Oh, you did, huh?
Uh-huh.
How's that?
Well, just before you stopped by now, not more than 15 minutes ago, her and her brother and Dave Hunter hiked right by the shop here.
Well, what's she like, anyway?
Well, now, I happened to be inside the shop when they come by, but from what I could see, she's a mighty nice-looking young lady.
What type?
What?
What type? Tall and skinny, short and fat, dull and droopy, or did she look like she's got some pep to her?
Well, my goodness, Clem, I just caught a flying glimpse of her.
Well, that's all you need, my boy, to get a general idea of where she belongs. More than likely she's a sprightly type, judging by her brother.
Well, I couldn't really say, Clem. She was dressed awful elegant, though.
Don't mean a thing. So David Hunter was with him, was he?
Yes, he was. He was walking between the two of them.
Well, I suppose he'll take a shine to her, being at a loose end now.
Why, Clem, she's a married woman.
From all I hear, her husband's not coming down here with her.
No, but just the same.
For all we know, she's ditched him someplace and don't intend to come back and call for him.
Oh, my goodness, Clem.
I wouldn't be surprised at all, Curly, if there was fireworks in Monticello.
Fireworks?
Yes, sir.
Why, Clem, how do you mean?
Oh, I don't know. I just got a kind of a inspiration of something being in the wind. Lonesome young wife, pretty one at that, and a good-looking young fella like David that's just got himself unengaged. Dynamite, Curly. Dynamite.
Well, whether Clem is just exercising his famous imagination, or whether there's really something to this prediction or not, I think we'd all like to join Carlton, his sister Marilyn Owens, and David Hunter over at the Brewster house, which they're inspecting right now. We'll join them in a moment, after I've had just a few words with you. Here are 5 good, sound, sensible reasons why syrup pepsin is the right laxative to give your children. First, it's mild and gentle and kind to tender little inner workings. Second, syrup pepsin is a vegetable laxative. Third, it's a liquid. You yourself measure exactly the amount your children need, a little more for the older children and a little less for the very young. Fourth, you can reduce the amount you give your child gradually so that you encourage nature herself to get back to work again. Fifth and finally, syrup pepsin is the most delicious medicine that your child ever tasted. Here are 5 good, sound, sensible reasons why your child deserves to have Dr. Caldwell's syrup pepsin combined with laxative center compound when he needs a laxative. I challenge you to try to find another laxative that has all these good points for children, and I warn you in advance that it can't be done. So why be satisfied with anything less good than Dr. Caldwell's syrup pepsin, especially when syrup pepsin costs so very little and is so easy to get? It's the only laxative that you need in the house because it's right for every member of the family, from baby to grandpa. How about phoning your druggist right this moment for a great big family-sized bottle of Dr. Caldwell's syrup pepsin? Now we'll join Carlton Ross, his sister, Mrs. Marilyn Owens, and David Hunter. They've just been going through the old empty Brewster house, one of the 2 places in Monticello which Carlton and his sister are considering. Mrs. Owens just came down to Monticello yesterday, so she and David haven't had much of an opportunity to get acquainted. Now, they've come back to the living room of the house, and they're standing in front of a window seat, which is flooded with friendly and inviting sunshine.
Well, now that we've seen the whole place, let's sit down and think about it. Thank goodness somebody had the sense to build a window seat into this house. Otherwise, where would we sit?
Whoa, whoa, watch out. You're sitting in 5 years' dirt.
Oh,
you should let me wipe off his face for you.
Oh, a little dust won't show on this tweed. If you gentlemen want to spread handkerchiefs for yourselves to sit on, go ahead.
Yeah, well, if you think I won't. Now, I'd look cute, wouldn't I, walking around town with a patch of gray dust on the back of my trousers?
Well, I think I'll chance it.
Afraid of looking like a sissy, huh? Not me.
Oh, I don't think it'll show on Mr. Hunter's light suit either. Doesn't this sun feel wonderful on your back?
Especially in this cold, deserted house.
Yes. I wonder why empty houses have such an unearthly coldness about them. Probably because they're empty and lonely.
Well, this place has had plenty of chance to lose any human warmth it ever had. Guess it's been empty for 5 or 6 years.
I wonder who lived here before. Why they moved away. Once upon a time, it must have been a lovely, cozy home. The center of the universe for somebody.
I don't know anything about it, except that it used to belong to a family by the name of Brewster.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Brewsters were old settlers in this territory. At least 2 generations lived here for a full lifetime each. And then a 3rd generation grew up and moved away. And there was only the old man left here, all alone.
Oh, poor old soul.
I think he's still living. Seems to me somebody told me that he left Monticello to live with a son or daughter out on the west coast.
Well, let's hope the sunshine and the perpetual summer out there helps to make up for the home he lost.
Oh, don't worry about him. He probably started a new life all over again out there under the palm trees. Oh, anybody want a cigarette?
Not I, thank you.
I'll have one, thanks.
Be careful where you put the ashes now, David. This may be our house, you know.
Well, in that case, maybe I better use our old high school trick of putting the ashes in the cuff of my trousers.
Yeah, good.
Can't you just imagine what kind of a home this was? Look, you can see the outline of the pictures they used to have on the wall. Big oval pictures. Family portraits.
And the bouquet under glass made out of somebody's hair.
Good Lord.
Right opposite us, you can see the outline of a sofa that used to stand against that wall. A sofa with a carved back.
I wish that sofa were here right now. I'm getting sleepy sitting in the sun.
At 8:30 in the morning? Oh, it's a fine way to begin the day.
Incidentally, speaking of beginning the day, I suppose Dave's got to get out to school, and I ought to be down at the Caldwell Company right now. And we still haven't heard what you think of this place.
Oh, should we go? We could talk about it on the way down to the square.
No, that's all right now. Let's stay here so we know what we're talking about. Otherwise, I'll be talking about the east bedroom, and you'll tell me there wasn't any, that it was all fireplace chimneys on that side of the house. Or else we'll forget if the darn place had any stairways, or if you had to get upstairs by the way of a ladder.
It's a pretty big place, don't you think?
It is big. I'm afraid it's probably too big for us.
Oh, I don't know now. The extra room down here I can use for a study if nobody cares.
Oh, yes, but there are dozens of bedrooms upstairs.
2 or 3. It seems to me I counted 3 good-sized bedrooms, and one that you can use as a playroom for Kitty.
Oh, but these first-floor rooms, they're awfully big, Carlton. Think of the rug you'd need to cover all this floor space.
Well, why cover it? It's probably a darn good hardwood floor if you ever get down to it through the dirt.
Oh, but you don't want to go tramping around on acres and acres of bare floor, Carl. Think how that would sound.
Well, when you got some furniture in, it won't echo the way it does now.
It's a lovely old place. But the backyard and the garden really aren't nearly as big.
What? Nearly as big as what?
Why, the house we looked at yesterday.
Oh. Well, no, but I thought you said the grounds were too big there, that we'd never get the weeds cut so we could see the street from our front window.
Well, we could have someone in to help once in a while. I could certainly keep up the garden after we had it started.
Are you fond of gardens?
Well, I really don't know very much about it, but I'd like to learn.
It's pretty hard work, especially if you aren't used to it.
Yeah, you're darn right. That's what I've been trying to tell her.
The harder it is, the better I like it. But look, Carlton, you haven't said which house you like best.
Oh, either one's okay with me. It's really you and Kitty who ought to be the ones to decide. After all, you'll be here a lot more than I will.
Well, I know, but unfortunately, most of the expense is going to have to be yours.
Well, what of it? I'd just as soon live in one place as the other. Seems to me it's a toss-up.
Now, why don't you go back and have another look at the place we saw yesterday?
Oh, I will.
In a way, I suppose this place is a bit more on the practical side.
Why?
Well, for one thing, the grounds are smaller. For another, the kitchen's been done over recently, and so it's more modern and efficient.
Oh, but I love an old-fashioned kitchen. I don't care if it isn't quite so efficient.
This place has a side porch, and the other one hasn't.
Oh, well, we could only use that in the summer anyway.
Here we have a back stairway going up the second floor and a stairway in the front hall. Over there, of course, you've only got one stairway at the second floor.
Well, that's just as well. Then there are that many less steps to keep swept and scrubbed.
Well, except for the extra work there might be keeping those stairs in shape, it looks to me as though there'd be less housework here than the other place.
Oh, but I told you, Carlton, I don't mind the work a bit. In fact, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Listen, David, have you been following all this?
I beg your pardon, what did you say, Carl?
Well, pardon me, I just wanted to know if you were following this. The way you were looking at Marilyn, I thought maybe you were thinking the same thing I was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was staring.
Oh, were you? Oh, I'm quite all right. What have I done now, Carl?
Well, you just doubled back on your own arguments 2 or 3 times and contradicted yourself backward and forward. Why?
Why what? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you're putting up a terrific argument in favor of the house next to Miller's.
Why, no, I'm not. We were just comparing the 2 places.
Yeah, when I said this place had 2 stairways and that had 1, you said 1 stairway was better because it meant less work.
Well, yes, that's true, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And the next second I said, on the whole, this place meant less housework. And what did you say?
Why, I said that... I said I would welcome the work.
Yeah, just a second after you argued in favor of 1 stairway, which meant less work. Well, come on now, out with it. What's the idea? You discover signs of a hidden treasure over in the house next to Miller's?
It wasn't a hidden treasure, Carlton.
Uh-huh. So you have got a reason for talking that place up.
I've been thinking about that little boy we met over there yesterday.
The boy? Oh, Jimmy Miller.
I like him, Carl.
Sure, he's a swell kid. I told you about.
He's just about the nicest youngster I ever ran into.
Well, Kitty doesn't have any brother to play with, and I think there's nothing more important for a little girl than to have the right kind of playmates. Boys as well as girls.
Well, that's true enough.
And, well, while I know you can't force children into friendship, I've got an idea that Kitty and that boy could be very good friends. So if I've been more or less unconsciously arguing for the other house, I guess you could blame Jimmy Miller for that, Carlton.
Well, I don't know why that isn't as good a reason as any for choosing a house to live in, according to the neighbors you'll have.
Psychologists seem to think it's pretty well established that having the right friends in childhood helps us to pick the right friends and the right husband or wife later on.
Yes, it should work that way, shouldn't it? Like so many nice theories, it doesn't always work.
Was Marilyn Owens referring to the story of her own apparently tragic romance? So far, we know very little of her story, but as we listen in on the line from now on, we will certainly learn more about her life. Remember, we were talking on the line a little while ago about the fact that syrup pepsin is an ideal laxative for children because it's mild, gentle, and made in delicious liquid form that they love to take. But syrup pepsin is not by any means a children's laxative. It's right for the entire family. Because of its convenient liquid form, you can easily measure the exact amount for everybody. And here is a highly important item. Syrup pepsin costs very little to buy, and your first purchase of syrup pepsin is your last for a long, long time. You need no other laxative in the house because that great big bottle of syrup pepsin will keep everybody in regular working order for a good long time. You will remember to get syrup pepsin at your own drugstore today, won't you? Ask your druggist for Dr. Caldwell's syrup pepsin. It's spelled S-Y-R-U-P, syrup, P-E-P-S-I-N, pepsin. Syrup pepsin. And now, friends, don't forget, we'll see you all again tomorrow at this same time when we meet again on the party line.
"87 years ago, April 27th, 1938, the Monticello Party Line here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage at classicradio.stream. We'll see you tomorrow for comedy here on Classic Radio Theater. I'm Wyatt Cox.